The Rich Man's Mask. Once upon a time in the vibrant city of Accra, there lived a handsome billionaire named Kofi Mensah. Though his life appeared perfect from the outside, within his opulent mansion, he felt a profound loneliness. Kofi was surrounded by wealth, admired by many, yet he grappled with the heavy chains of expectation and solitude that accompanied his fortune. His days were spent in meetings and fancy gatherings where everyone seemed more interested in his bank account than in the man himself. One evening, after attending yet another lavish event filled with hollow laughter and fragile conversations, Kofi returned home feeling emptier than ever. As he passed through the grand foyer, decorated with delicate sculptures and gleaming chandeliers, memories of his beloved grandmother came rushing back. She had always encouraged him to find joy in simple things and reminded him that true connection flowed from honesty and humility. The lack of those in his life weighed on him, like an anchor pulling him into the depth of despair. That night, as he lay in his expansive, sterile bedroom, Kofi made a decision. He would step out of the expensive suits and designer shoes that had become synonymous with his identity. He would dive into the lively streets of Accra, disguised as a common taxi driver. With newfound determination, he envisioned himself behind the wheel of an old cab, navigating the vibrant chaos of the city where laughter and storytelling thrived. The next morning, he donned a simple t-shirt, worn jeans, and a cap that obscured his striking features. With trepidation yet excitement welling in his chest, he purchased a modest, battered taxi from a local seller. As he slid into the driver's seat, the car creaked, mirroring the anticipation bubbling within him. Kofi could hardly mask the thrill of freedom that surged through him, complemented by a hint of anxiety about whether he could blend into the colorful tapestry of urban life. As Kofi drove through the bustling streets, he was greeted by a kaleidoscope of sights and sounds. Vendors shouted to patrons, children dashed around playing, and the aroma of fried plantains and spicy stews filled the air. This was the essence of life, a stark contrast to the sterile world he had inhabited as a billionaire. He felt invigorated, not just as a driver but as a part of a living, breathing community. His first passenger was a cheerful woman named Amina, who was headed to a market stall. She chatted excitedly about her children and the latest gossip, and Kofi found himself laughing as she animatedly gestured, her happiness infectious. It was in this exchange he began to understand the power of genuine interaction, something he had greatly missed in his high society life. As the day wore on, Kofi picked up various passengers, each with their own stories, of dreams, struggles, and small victories. There was a middle-aged man who shared tales of his journey from the countryside to the city, and a young student who spoke of ambitions to become a doctor. Each ride revealed a world filled with wisdom and warmth, different from the superficiality of the lavish parties he had once attended. However, he soon encountered a challenge when the cab broke down unexpectedly in the middle of traffic. Frustration swelled within him, but the honking horns and impatient drivers inched him closer to panic. Just as chaos threatened to unveil his identity, a kind passerby, a young woman named Amina, rushed to help him. Her bright, gentle smile captivated Kofi, instantly dissolving his frustration. "Let me give you a hand," she said, her laughter echoing through the air. She knelt beside him, showing remarkable skill as she identified the problem and offered solutions with ease. While she worked on the engine, Kofi watched, entranced by her confidence and humor. He introduced himself as Kwame, a humble taxi driver just trying to make ends meet. They exchanged warm banter, and to Kofi's delight, he found himself enjoying her company more than he anticipated. When they finally got the cab running again, Amina clambered into the back seat. "I hope you're not too discouraged by the failure," she chuckled. "Things break, but it's solutions that bring us together, right?" Kofi smiled, her optimism brightening his day even further. During the ride, she shared her dreams of opening a shop in the market, her passion ignited like a flame. He listened intently, feeling an unfamiliar warmth blossom in his heart, a yearning for connection that had been absent in his life for far too long. As they reached her destination, Amina turned back to Kofi. "You know, the city is full of stories. Just take the time to listen, and you'll find treasures hidden in the most unexpected places." With that encouraging thought, she stepped out, leaving Kofi with an unexpected sense of hope. As he drove away, feeling invigorated by their brief exchange, he understood that today was turning out to be more meaningful than he had ever expected. Kofi felt something stirring inside him, a flicker of purpose awakening. Perhaps this simple guise of a taxi driver was the key to shedding the rich man's mask he so often wore. With each passenger, he began to discover not just the city, but also pieces of himself he had long forgotten. And as the sun began to set over Accra, he couldn't help but wonder what the next day would hold. The Market of Dreams. The early morning sun bathed Accra in a golden hue, illuminating the streets filled with bustling life. Kofi, now embraced in his role as Kwame, strode through the vibrant alleys with a renewed spirit. The previous day had left an indelible mark on him, awakening a desire to learn more about the world beyond his gilded cage. Determined to immerse himself further into the city's pulse, Kofi drove his patched-up taxi to the heart of the market, a colorful labyrinth of vendors, shoppers, and the sweet aroma of local cuisine. The marketplace buzzed with energy as people bartered, laughed, and shared stories, all while the sounds of musicians filled the background, weaving a tapestry of excitement. At first, he navigated the narrow paths with caution, careful not to disturb the rhythm of daily life. His eyes danced over the stalls adorned with vivid cloth, handcrafted jewelry, and tempting snacks. It was a feast for the senses, a stark contrast to the lavish galas filled with monotonous chatter he had known for so long. As he parked his cab, he remembered Amina's words from yesterday, "The city is full of stories." Determined to listen, Kofi set out to explore. Every stall he passed overflowed with items that held tales of craftsmanship, resilience, and dreams. Smiling vendors called out, enticing him to sample their wares. One stall was draped in beautiful fabrics. Kofi found himself drawn to a vibrant Kent cloth, its rich colors weaving together patterns that told stories of heritage and pride. He approached the seller, an elderly woman whose eyes sparkled with wisdom. "Good morning, young man. What brings you here?" she asked, her voice both warm and commanding. "I'm just exploring," Kofi responded, appreciating her presence as if she were a living history book. As they spoke, he discovered the meanings behind the cloth, each color, each pattern symbolizing aspects of life, pride, and unity. Kofi was captivated, feeling an urge to understand more about the culture that surrounded him. After thanking the woman, Kofi continued further into the market, where he spotted a bustling food stall lined with locals enjoying steaming bowls of jollof rice and fried plantains. The aroma enveloped him, and before he knew it, he found himself ordering a plate. As he devoured the delicious meal, the locals shared jokes and laughter, pulling him into their camaraderie. One of them, a young man named Kwesi, gestured for him to join their table. "You look like you're not from around here," he teased. "What's a taxi driver doing feasting like a king?" Kofi chuckled, ready to embrace the jest. "Just trying to experience the city and enjoy some good food." "Join the club. We're all chasing our dreams here," Kwesi replied, eyes twinkling. The conversation flowed, and Kofi learned about their aspirations. The artist hoping to exhibit in galleries and the shopkeeper wishing to save enough to send his daughter to university. Each story carried a weight of determination, resonating deeply with Kofi. Feeling invigorated by the exchange, he promised to root for their success before thanking them and moving onward. He ventured deeper into the market, now determined to find Amina again. His heart raced as he spotted her stall, adorned with colorful fabrics. Amina was busily arranging items, her brow slightly furrowed in concentration. She looked up, and their eyes locked for a moment. That spark from their fortuitous meeting the day before ignited anew within him. "Kwame," she exclaimed, a smile breaking across her face. "I'm so glad to see you. How's the driving treating you?" "Better than I expected. I think I'm starting to understand this city, its vibrant energy," Kofi replied, smiling back as he stepped closer. "Good. But it's not just the city, it's the people that make it special. Each one has a dream," she said, her voice laced with passion. "The market is alive with stories." Kofi nodded, feeling a bond weave between them. "I've seen that too. I met some amazing people today at the food stall. Their dreams are humbling." "Let me show you what I do here," Amina said, her enthusiasm spilling over as she gestured for him to follow her behind her stall. Reaching back, she pulled out beautifully crafted necklaces adorned with vibrant beads. "These are my creations. I make them from local materials, blending tradition with contemporary design. I dream of opening my own shop someday." Kofi examined the intricate pieces, each telling a story woven in color and artistry. "They're incredible. You have a real gift," he acknowledged, feeling his admiration grow for her talent and ambition. Amina flushed with pride. "Thank you. Selling here helps me save for that dream. But it's hard work. I sometimes doubt myself," she admitted, vulnerability shining in her eyes. Kofi felt a sense of kinship with her struggles. He shared his own journey and the weight of expectations that had accompanied his wealth, revealing, for the first time, feelings of insecurity he thought a billionaire should never express. In their honest exchange, Kofi realized that vulnerability drew them closer. "You're already successful, Amina. You work with passion and purpose. That's the heart of success," he said, his conviction fortifying the words. She smiled softly and looked down at her hands, holding onto a necklace as if it were a treasured secret. "Sometimes it's hard to see it that way in this world." A sudden burst of laughter interrupted their moment. A group of children raced past, their laughter echoing in the air. Kofi felt a warmth fill his chest. He hadn't felt this kind of connection in so long. It was as if the walls he had built around himself were beginning to crumble, allowing the light in. "I'd love to help you," Kofi blurted out, surprising even himself. "What if we collaborated? Your designs could reach a wider audience. I can help with marketing, turning dreams into reality." Amina's eyes sparkled with surprise, her smile widening. "You do that for me?" "Absolutely. It's about time I put my resources to good use," Kofi replied, confidence surging through him. "This is just the beginning, Amina. We can create something extraordinary together. And with our dreams combined, who knows what we might achieve," she said, her laughter ringing sweetly through the air. As Kofi looked at Amina, he felt a purpose growing within him, one that merged with the dreams of this vibrant marketplace and all who thrived within it. Today had opened his heart, and he knew that when you truly embrace the world around you, magic happens. For the first time in years, Kofi felt like he was exactly where he belonged. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue bringing more content your way. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get back to the story. Stories of the heart. The vibrant hum of the market pulsed around Kofi like a living entity. Even amidst the clamor, the conversations grew richer with every interaction. With Amina's dream of collaboration ringing in his ears, he felt a new sense of purpose enveloping him, driving him to engage more deeply with the people of Accra. Kofi withdrew his cab from the market, ready for a new day as Kwame. He hoped to both hear and share the untold stories buried within the city's bustling streets. With each passenger, he prepared himself to immerse deeper into the lives of those who might share their dreams, challenges, and triumphs. His first passenger that day was an older gentleman, leaning heavily on a cane, whose face told tales of years past. The man introduced himself as Baba, a storyteller renowned in the community. "You seem like a young man with a curious heart," Baba remarked as he settled into the back seat. "Where are you off to today?" "Just driving around," Kofi replied, a sense of excitement bubbling within him. "Tell me about your stories. I know you must have many." Baba leaned back, lightly stroking his beard with a grin. "Ah, young man, stories are the lifeblood of our existence. They connect us, teach us lessons, and remind us of our humanity. Let me share a tale about a man named Kojo. This tale will teach you about sacrifice and love." Intrigued, Kofi switched on the taxi's lights, signaling for the world outside to slow down while they ventured into Baba's narrative. "Once upon a time," Baba began, "there was a humble fisherman named Kojo who lived in a small fishing village by the sea. He loved his family dearly, but his village was plagued by droughts, making it difficult to catch fish. Desperate, he ventured farther out to sea, risking his life and the hopes of his loved ones." Baba's voice rose and fell in a rhythm that entranced Kofi, drawing him into a world where the heart beats boldly against adversity. While out at sea, Kojo encountered a great storm. Waves crashed against his tiny boat, threatening to capsize him. Yet, within that chaos, he felt a strange calmness, the realization that faith and love were his anchors. He prayed, wishing for the safety of his family and the livelihood of his village. Remarkably, the storm subsided, and Kojo found luck. He returned with a bountiful catch that restored his village's hopes and nourished his family. But instead of taking all the credit, Kojo acknowledged the struggles of others. He began sharing his catch, ensuring that no one would go hungry again. Baba paused, his eyes twinkling with wisdom. From that day, the villagers embraced the spirit of unity. They learned that love is not just about oneself, it's about shared burdens and communal success. Kojo became a legend, not just for his catch but for his heart. As the story settled in Kofi's thoughts, he felt a mix of inspiration and melancholy. "What an incredible story," Kofi remarked, feeling the weight of the lesson settle in. "It's a reminder that there's strength in community and love is the true wealth we should strive for." Baba nodded appreciatively. "You're wiser than you appear, Kwame. May you hold on to that understanding." "Now," he said, adjusting himself, "take me to the community center where I can share stories with the youth." Kofi nodded, re-energized. With every mile, he began to consider how he could weave his own story into this city. He dropped Baba off at the community center, where the man's presence inspired the next generation. As Kofi resumed his taxi route, he found himself pondering the sacrifices he had made for success and the emptiness that wealth couldn't fill. Offering his aid to uplift others resonated deeply in him, and he felt more connected to Accra than ever. The day progressed, and he picked up numerous passengers, each possessing their own heartwarming stories. There was Nana, a spirited widow who spoke of her late husband's kindness. She shared how they had built a communal garden that flourished on love and hard work. Another passenger was a young girl, Oma, who shared her dream of being a nurse to help those in her community. "It's my turn to give back," she explained passionately, her eyes shining. Kofi felt his heart swell with pride listening to her aspirations, and he promised to support her in finding scholarships. With each encounter, Kofi gathered more pieces of himself, reflected in the shared dreams and struggles of those he met. He found solace in these narratives, realizing they echoed his journey. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky with strokes of orange and purple, Kofi felt a yearning to return to Amina. He wanted to share the inspiration he'd gathered throughout the day and the underlying theme he now recognized. Community and interconnection were essentials in life's journey. Finding Amina's stall, he parked the taxi. As he stepped out, the aroma of rich spices filled the air, and the laughter of marketgoers formed a comforting backdrop. He scanned the bustling crowd, eyes landing on Amina as she worked diligently to serve her customers. She looked up, her smile radiating warmth as she caught sight of him. "Kwame, you made it back." "Today was enlightening," he replied with genuine excitement as he approached. "I met incredible people and learned so many valuable lessons. I think we can create something meaningful together." Amina raised an eyebrow, curiosity igniting her expression. "I want to hear everything. You were out there discovering stories of the heart, I can tell." Kofi leaned forward as he recounted Baba's story and the other narratives that had moved him throughout the day. Amina listened intently, her eyes sparkling with inspiration. "Then let's do it," she declared when he finished. "We can weave these stories into a collaborative venture in our community. We'll share gifts of love and connections, just like Kojo." As darkness enveloped the market, Kofi felt a new flame of ambition igniting within him. Together with Amina, he realized they could create more than just a shop. They could craft a movement of empathy and shared dreams within Accra. The stories of the heart had become a catalyst, and Kofi knew they were on the brink of something beautiful, an adventure fueled by purpose and a desire to uplift those around them. In that moment, the weight of his own past began to lift, revealing a path forward illuminated by connection, hope, and love. Unmasking feelings. The golden hue of morning in Accra brought with it a symphony of sounds. Vendors calling out their wares, children giggling as they ran through the streets, and the lingering aroma of fried dough wafting through the air. Kofi felt invigorated as he drove his taxi through the lively city, knowing he would see Amina again today. The connection between them danced around him like the sparkling sunlight that illuminated every corner of his path. After their discussion about dreams and community last night, Kofi's thoughts seldom strayed from her. A vibrant anticipation bubbled within him, mingled with an unfamiliar yet welcome feeling, hope. Hope that perhaps the vulnerability they had shared was a door to something deeper. As he pulled up to Amina's stall, he couldn't help but notice how much more alive the market felt today. The colors of the fabrics, the laughter of passers-by, and the warmth of friendly greetings wrapped around him like a comforting embrace. Spotting Amina, he felt his heart quicken. She was arranging her handmade necklaces, her deft fingers weaving through the intricate beads as she hummed a soft tune. "Kwame," Amina greeted, her smile brightening even the sun-kissed morning. "You're here early today. Ready to hear about more dreams?" "Absolutely," Kofi replied, stepping closer, the distance between them feeling electric. "But first, I have something to show you." He retrieved a small notebook from his back pocket, filled with notes from his conversations with passengers over the past week. Amina's eyes widened with curiosity. "What's this?" "I started jotting down the stories I've encountered. I think they could inspire us as we work together," he explained, excitement bubbling in his voice. As he flipped through the pages, reading snippets and anecdotes, Amina sat cross-legged on the ground, her expression a mix of admiration and delight. "These stories capture the essence of our community. They deserve to be shared." Kofi felt an urge to create, to build something that resonated with the vibrancy of their surroundings. What if we started a project together? We could share these stories with the people, create a monthly gathering. It could foster connection and unity. "I love that idea," Amina said, her enthusiasm infectious. "We can showcase local talents, share dreams, and celebrate our culture." Their eyes met again, the depth of their shared aspirations igniting a spark that sent a current of warmth through Kofi's chest. Just as he was about to articulate a thought, the moment was interrupted by a call from a customer, and Amina sprang into action, her business demeanor effortlessly transitioning in an instant. While she attended to the customers, Kofi stood back, watching her with admiration. Her passion radiated from her like sunlight, and he couldn't help but feel drawn to her strength. The moments spent with her were layered with unspoken connection, each glance and laugh hinting at something more profound simmering beneath. As the day unfolded, Kofi picked up various passengers. He couldn't escape the chatter in his mind, the realization that he was developing deeper feelings for Amina. Each interaction with different riders allowed him to reflect on the happiness Amina ignited within him. He understood that this bond was special. It had the potential to blossom into something extraordinary. A few hours later, while stopping for a quick break near Amina's stall, Kofi heard familiar laughter. Amina was engaging with a group of children, showing off the vibrant necklaces she had crafted. He found himself smiling, captivated by her warmth and the way she interacted with everyone around her. Suddenly, a group of young women approached her stall, eager to try on the jewelry. The compliments and playful teasing filled the air, wrapping around Kofi like a blanket. It brought him joy to see Amina shine among them, but there was something else too, an uncomfortable pang in his chest. Could he truly open his heart to someone who brought out so much vulnerability in him? As the laughter faded, Kofi made his way over, feeling slightly out of place yet eager to immerse himself in Amina's world. When Amina noticed him, her eyes brightened again. "Kwame, come meet my friends. They are going to help me with the marketing ideas we discussed." "Really?" Kofi asked, surprised but excited. "Yes." Amina beamed. "We're going to brainstorm together. You've inspired me to reach wider." They exchanged ideas with Amina's friends, bouncing suggestions off one another and fueling the creative fire. The laughter flowed naturally, breaking any awkwardness in the air. Kofi listened, interjecting occasionally, but he couldn't shake the feeling that his heart was expanding with every moment spent with Amina. After their brainstorming session, Amina turned to him, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I can't believe how much we accomplished today. I feel like we can make a real difference." Kofi nodded, full of admiration, but something lingered in the back of his mind. "Amina," he began hesitantly, "there's something I've been wanting to say." Her expression shifted slightly, curiosity tinging her response. "What is it?" Taking a deep breath, his heart raced as Kofi prepared to unmask his feelings. "I know we are still in the early stages of our adventure, but I can't ignore how much I've come to appreciate our time together. You inspire me in ways I didn't know were possible." Amina's gaze met his, and for a heartbeat, the world outside fell away. "Kwame," she whispered, her voice trailing before she continued, "I feel something special here too. It's new for me." Encouraged by her response, Kofi spoke from his heart. "I want you to know I'm here for you, beyond this project. I admire your passion, your resilience. You've awakened something in me, and I'd like to explore it further." A moment of silence enveloped them. Amina chewed her lip, contemplating his words, and Kofi's heart pounded in his chest. He felt exposed yet liberated, nerves blending into a sense of freedom. "I would love that, Kwame," she finally said, her eyes twinkling. "I think there's a connection here worth exploring." A sudden warmth swelled between them, creating a delicate bond that pulled at Kofi's heartstrings. As they stood in the heart of the market surrounded by laughter, colors, and vibrant life, Kofi knew that this journey with Amina was just beginning. The unmasking of their feelings opened a door to new possibilities, and hope illuminated their shared path. The weight of truth. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting Accra in shades of orange and purple, Kofi felt an overwhelming sense of anticipation coursing through him. He and Amina had just wrapped up their first brainstorm session for the community project, and with every moment spent together, he felt their connection deepening. Yet, the weight of his secret loomed over him like a dark cloud, threatening to overshadow the joy they'd cultivated. He hadn't dared to share his true identity as a wealthy businessman. The thought of it filled him with dread. Would Amina still see him as the earnest man she had come to know, or would the truth change everything, fraying the bond they had begun to forge? After their meeting, Amina had invited him to join her for dinner at a local eatery renowned for its jollof rice. She had laughed joyfully when he accepted, her energy infectious. But as he drove through the familiar streets, the thrill of being with her was overshadowed by the looming confrontation with the truth. The eatery was a lively affair filled with the chatter of patrons and the sizzle of spices in the open kitchen. Amina led Kofi to a cozy table, her eyes gleaming with excitement as she glanced over the menu. "You're going to love this place," she assured him. "Their jollof is unbeatable. And the grilled chicken is to die for." Kofi couldn't resist the warmth of her enthusiasm. The atmosphere wrapped around him like a comforting blanket, yet he couldn't help but feel a tightening in his chest as they placed their orders. Amina's laughter and animated storytelling was a balm for his soul, but every joke she cracked and every smile she flashed felt like a countdown to the moment he'd have to unveil his truth. "Kwame, why are you so quiet tonight?" she asked, tilting her head curiously. "You seem a little distant." Kofi took a deep breath, willing himself to meet her gaze. "I've just been thinking about everything we've discussed. The project, the stories, how we can make a difference together," he said, attempting to mask his turmoil. "Me too," Amina replied, her fingers tracing the edge of her glass. "But you can't lose yourself along the way. We can't help the community if we don't take care of our hearts first." Her words rang deep, resonating with Kofi on multiple levels. They shared their meals, laughter echoing around them, yet his heart felt heavy with a painful contradiction. As their plates were cleared, he couldn't delay the truth any longer. "Amina, I need to tell you something," he finally said, his voice shaky but resolved. "Okay. What is it?" she asked, her smile fading slightly as she sensed the gravity of his tone. He inhaled deeply. "You know how I said I was a simple taxi driver? That's not entirely true." Her brows furrowed, a mix of confusion and concern crossing her face. "What do you mean?" Kofi ran a hand through his hair, his heart racing. "I'm actually Kofi Mensah. I own a business and I'm a billionaire." Silence fell heavily between them, the vibrant world around them fading to a distant echo. The truth had been unleashed, and he felt naked, exposed, and terrified. Amina's reaction was immediate, disbelief reflected in her eyes, followed by an ache that felt palpable. Why would you pretend to be someone you're not?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I wanted to find genuine connections," Kofi replied, desperation creeping into his words. "I grew tired of everyone loving me for my money, for who they thought I was. I wanted to understand life as it is, not through the lens of my wealth. Being with you, being around people like Baba and Oma, it felt real." Amina's expression softened for the briefest moment but then hardened again. "You took a risk, Kwame. I can't believe you lied to me. You let me open my heart to you without knowing who you really were." "I never meant to hurt you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I was truly drawn to you, Amina. You showed me what it means to be part of a community, and I didn't want to lose that. I walked into this life searching for authenticity, and I found you. I found this connection." Tears welled in Amina's eyes, and Kofi's heart broke at the sight. "You don't understand," she said, her voice trembling. "Do you know how hard I work to build my business, to earn respect? I thought you were different. I thought you were someone who understood struggle." "I do understand struggle," Kofi insisted, feeling a surge of desperation. "I've had everything a man could want, but that doesn't mean I know what it's like to truly connect with others. I don't want riches, I want genuine relationships." "Your riches could have helped the community already," she said, hurt lighting her features. "Instead, you chose to deceive me and everyone else you claimed to care about. How can I trust you now?" Their food arrived, but neither touched their plates. The vibrant colors of the meal felt muted in the backdrop of the heavy atmosphere brewing between them. Kofi searched for the right words, but the deeper he probed, the more he felt his own walls closing in around him. "I'll prove it to you," he pleaded. "Let me help with the project. Let me show you that I can be a part of this community without the facade. We can work together to uplift others." Amina shook her head, tears spilling over as she cast her gaze away. "I need time, Kwame. You've just revealed something that changes everything." There was an unbearable weight of silence, the tenuous thread connecting them fraying. Kofi felt helpless and hollow as the reality of his revelation slipped away with each passing moment. "Please, understand that I never wanted to hurt you," Kofi whispered, feeling the lingering warmth of their first moments together dimming into a chilling uncertainty. "I need to think," Amina said softly, her voice almost inaudible. As they exited the eatery, Kofi walked beside her in silence. The laughter, the vibrancy, the dreams. They felt suspended in an awkward limbo, everyone around them oblivious to the seismic shift that had just occurred. Reaching her stall, Amina paused. The colorful array of handmade necklaces and vibrant fabric felt like a barrier now, a reminder of what they had built together. "Goodbye, Kwame," she said, her breath hitched. "Please don't call me that," he murmured, the name feeling foreign and distant now. The piercing look in her eyes as she turned away left him staggered. In that moment, Kofi understood the full weight of truth. It could bond hearts or break them apart entirely. He had sought authenticity and instead invited chaos into their lives, all while trying to mask his own fears. As night fell over the city, Kofi's heart felt heavy, and he was left with the bittersweet taste of regret, the price one pays for unmasking feelings too late. He realized connection might flow, but honesty is the bridge that holds it all together. Love beyond wealth. The vibrant streets of Accra pulsed with life, yet Kofi felt the world around him had lost its luster. Amina's last words echoed in his mind, "I need time." A sharp reminder of the chasm that now lay between them. He drove through the bustling marketplace, but even the laughter of children and the chatter of vendors failed to lift his spirits. His heart felt heavy with regret, and the walls he had painstakingly torn down now seemed to loom higher than ever. After their dinner, Amina had withdrawn into herself, and Kofi often found himself parking by her stall, watching her interact with customers, her smile genuine yet tinged with sadness. The vibrant colors of her fabrics and the intricate patterns of her jewelry no longer inspired him. Instead, they mirrored the intricate web of their clashing emotions. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had broken something beautiful between them, and now they stood on opposite sides of an invisible divide. Determined to find a way back to her, Kofi devised a plan. The project they had discussed, bringing the stories of the community to life, could be the bridge to mend their connection. If he could show Amina the depth of his commitment to their shared vision, perhaps she could see beyond his past deception and reframe her perception of him. He spent the following days organizing their first community gathering at a local park, inviting artists, storytellers, and musicians to share their dreams. He poured his heart into the project, and as he did so, he felt the ache of longing for Amina intensify. Each colorful flyer he distributed became a silent plea for her forgiveness. On the morning of the event, Kofi awakened early. The sun cast a warm glow on the city, and he embraced a sense of hope. Today could be the start of rebuilding what was lost. He donned a simple outfit, opting for the humility that had drawn Amina to him in the beginning, and headed to the park. Upon arrival, Kofi was greeted by bursts of color and energy. Vibrant banners decorated the pathways, and stalls filled with handmade crafts lined the grassy areas. Local artists were setting up their work, and musicians tuned their instruments while excited chatter floated around him. Everything felt alive with possibility. As the time approached, Kofi's heart raced. He scanned the crowd for Amina, desperately longing for her warm presence. The event began, and he took to the makeshift stage, his heart pounding in his chest. "I want to thank everyone for being here today," he started, his gaze sweeping over smiling faces. "This gathering is about sharing our dreams, our stories, and strengthening the bonds of our community." As he spoke, he saw familiar faces from the marketplace: Oma, the young aspiring nurse, Baba, the storyteller, and Nana, the widow. They all listened intently, their expressions encouraging him to continue. "I've learned that true wealth isn't measured by possessions, but by the relationships we build and the love we share." Just as he finished, a familiar figure emerged from the crowd. His heart leaped. Amina stood there, looking radiant yet uncertain, her brow slightly furrowed as she absorbed the scene. Their eyes locked for a brief moment, and Kofi felt a rush of warmth flooding through him. As the event unfolded, stories of struggle, perseverance, and triumph filled the air. Kofi introduced various speakers, each sharing the tales that embodied the heart of the community. Laughter erupted, applause followed heartfelt narratives, and musicians sang soulful melodies, filling the park with life and joy as people united over their shared experiences. In the midst of it all, Kofi stole glances at Amina. She had begun engaging with the guests, her smile slowly returning as she connected with those who resonated with her. He felt a flicker of hope ignite in his chest. If he could make her see the beauty in this moment, perhaps she would open herself to him once again. Following the last performance, Kofi knew it was time to take a chance. The crowd clapped, and people began mingling once again. With the park still buzzing with energy, he stepped off the stage and approached Amina, who was surrounded by children admiring her crafts. "Amina," he said softly, taking a deep breath, "do you have a moment to talk?" She turned, her expression guarded. "Kwame, Please," he interrupted gently. "I need you to know how much this means to me. I've put my heart into this gathering not just to showcase our stories, but as a way to show you that I understand what it means to love beyond wealth." Taking a step closer, he continued, "I want to embrace this community with you, to show that I can be someone who uplifts others, not just with resources but with connection and purpose. Can we rebuild this, us?" Amina searched his eyes, vulnerability etched on her face. "I want to believe you, but it's hard. You shattered my trust when you lied." "I know," Kofi replied, anguish threading his voice. "And I can't change the past, but I can work every day to earn that trust back. I've learned the value of honesty, of being vulnerable, of letting people see who I am beyond my money. And I want to make this right." For a heartbeat, silence enveloped them amidst the lively chatter around. Amina's mouth opened slightly as if searching for words, her gaze flickering between uncertainty and hope. "Maybe this is a start," she finally whispered, her voice gaining strength. "But it will take time. Trust, once broken, needs nurturing." "Whatever it takes, I'm here," Kofi promised, his heart pounding with determination. "I will show you every day that my love for you, and for this community, is real. I can't erase the past, but I want to work together towards a future." Amina's eyes softened, the warmth returning as she nodded slowly. "Okay. Let's take it one step at a time. Show me who you are, Kwame." As she spoke, Kofi felt a wave of relief wash over him. The barriers that had threatened to separate them began to wane. As the sun set over Accra, the gathering continued, laughter blending with music, and new friendships blossomed before their eyes. Amina turned back to the children and began showcasing her crafts once more, her spirit reignited. Kofi stepped to her side, eager to support her in any way she needed. Together, they transformed this community treasure into a testament to love beyond wealth. The understanding that true richness lies not in possessions but in the stories they lived and the connections they forged. In that bustling park, surrounded by laughter and love, Kofi felt lighter as hope blossomed anew within him. He was humbled by the promise of a future now intertwined with Amina's, knowing that while the path ahead was uncertain, the journey they would embark on together would be worth every step. Did you enjoy this video? If so, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to join us for more amazing stories every day. Here at Daily Anything History, there's always something new to discover. See you in the next video.